The TM Light Circus rolled into the Ohio Motor Speedway with Dan Richards claiming the pole in his team's home race. This is certainly going to be a big week for Richards if he's able to make the most of it. Ingrid Hadeland quickly fell back, but debutant Trek Tauger in car number 4 was able to quickly get around Dan Richards, and Trek Tauger began his quest to be the first debutante winner since Ethan Everett. Tauger caught the back of the field very quickly, and you can see the margin between Tauger and the rest of the field by the first green flag pit stop. Steve Holliday Jr. and Thurston Blood get together in cars 18 and 16. Blood, trying to get back to the pits, got turned around by John Quackenbush, bringing out the caution. And then on his way back to the pit lane, the 18 of Steve Holliday Jr. is going to be met with a very angry message from Thurston Blood's teammate. Buffy Boreanaz was called to the hauler after this incident, resulting in a scary flip for Will Lewis in car number 2. In that big stack-up, Trek Tauger was sent to the back of the field after that unsafe release, giving Jack Dempsey of Australia the race lead. Bill Calhoun makes a big dive in the 69 car to take the lead away from the 41, Claire Aussier also in contention. A lot of racing like this was seen throughout this next run. A lot of fender-to-fender, beating, banging racing. A lot of good short track racing in the middle of the field. Bill Calhoun continued to be the star of the show, and Claire Aussier not able to really do anything with him. That higher line that Calhoun was running made him very difficult to pass. Ingrid Hadeland had one of the scarier incidents of the day, getting together with Luke Ocean and sending both cars for a wild ride against the fence. This would draw a caution and give everyone a chance to pit, putting Calhoun in the lead and Gabe Messena in second, but bringing Trek Tauger back towards the front. Tauger makes a dive bomb on Bill Calhoun as he got stuck behind the 61 of Mariano Zavala, giving Tauger the lead again. Lane Cranston began to make a charge, but he got turned around by a wayward Joel Rodriguez during a pit cycle. Car number 14 had been running very strongly all race long. Tauger held the lead with just 10 laps to go, with Durain Ridman second and Lane Cranston still in the frame in the background, trying to make a run at him. Cranston was setting the fastest laps of the entire race, carving his way through traffic as quickly as he could, but it was not enough, and Trek Tauger was able to claim his first TM Lights win on his debut. Cranston's heroics overshadowed those of Hector Serrano, who battled back from being a lap down at one point, Ashley Tucker and Claire Aussier completing the top 5. Also some strong runs for Gabriel Messena, Wyatt Castle, Dylan Buchanan, Matt Brinson, and completing the top 10, Jack Dempsey. The series next rolled into the Grand Detour of Western Illinois, with Wyatt Castle in the yellow car number 40 taking the pole. Buffy Boreanaz got the outside of the front row, and there were many speculations she would be given a penalty, but she escaped the penalty after her actions during the Ohio race. Ashley Tucker got a good run on the 40 car, but Castle held strong in the lead of the race. It did not take long for standard Grand Detour fare to commence. Takumi Nagata, an overambitious dive on Bill Calhoun. No one was safe, even in the pit lane. Wyatt Castle for checking tires. An unsafe release into Ike Durbin's 08 car caused him to get a penalty and go to the tail end of the line. That team protested that call until the very last minute. Dan Richards in the 07 car, bit of a slide here with Josh Marshall, and Josh Marshall had an early candidate for Save of the Year with this, merely avoiding Trek Tauger. More drama on the next restart. We had Gerald Johnson tangling with Mike Humphreys in a big stack-up involving Robert Blake, Ingrid Hadeland, and many others. Wyatt Castle in the 40 car fell a lap down, and as you can tell, he's still not terribly happy with Ike Durbin. Durbin lost the lead to Friedrich Jaeger coming off of turn 4 as a result of this. Ross Carter, another overambitious dive, and he brought out another caution doing so. Craig Yonser tried to avoid the 11 of Claire Aussier, but got tagged by his teammate Joel Rodriguez. Jack Dempsey and Will Lewis got together on the back straightaway with a big hit for Dempsey in the outside wall. Giovanni Rhoda and many others collected. Mike Humphreys almost got through this incident, but was tagged by a spinning Thurston Blood and Joel Rodriguez. Claire Aussier involved, and as you can see, the 0 car tumbled down the banking. Trek Tauger and Steve Holliday Jr. also involved. Han Young-sung, the Korean star, trying to avoid Buffy Boreanaz, tags Will Lewis, and he goes for a hard hit in the inside of the pit lane, an incident that is all too common here at the Grand Detour of Western Illinois. 4Y doesn't quite work. As you see here, Robert Blake, Josh Marshall, and Lane Cranston getting together. Marshall continuing on in car number 9. Kurt Reynolds in the 88 car gets tagged by a wayward Takumi Nagata in the 88 car, and many others involved in this mess. Nagata bounced off the outside wall, collecting Reynolds, as you see there. When the 54 comes sliding across the track, Thurston Blood, Han Young-sung, Ausier again, Friedrich Jaeger, Luke Ocean almost involved, Marshall in it again in car number 9, and Han Young-sung goes tumbling down the banking. On the restart, it was very clear that the battle for the win would be between Dan Richards, the 08 car of Steve Holliday Jr., and the 12 of Ashley Tucker. Tucker eventually claimed the lead and was trying to pull away from the field as Gabe Messena was setting the fastest laps on the track in car number 3, but Messena was caught up with Ike Durbin in the 08 and Victor Kane in the 136. Richards also involved, along with the 19 of former champion Troy Adams. There goes the 61 car of Mariano Zavala in it as well. With just a handful of laps to go, Tucker had the lead over Chris Pagano in the 135 car, but Ross Carter's car ran out of fuel with just 5 laps to go, and the race ended under yellow with Ashley Tucker claiming the victory. Tucker and the Lynx women's team winning again and elevating her to 3rd in the championship. There really weren't enough cars that were undamaged that could really challenge Ashley Tucker at the end. Only 18 cars made it to the finish, with Giovanni Rota being several laps down at the end. Once again, this race rewarded survival rather than outright speed. Even though guys like Gerald Johnson, Friedrich Jaeger, Ike Durbin all had both in spades, damaged cars are seldom fast. The next stop for the TM Lights series was at Road America in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, not too far from Green Bay. Daniel Melrose in the 67 car caught Joel Rodriguez sleeping on the start, and he was able to lead Rodriguez into turn 1. Rodriguez had the pole for this race, but Daniel Melrose is going to be able to lead the field through the first corner, and as you'll see, everyone avoided a very large accident, which was always a fear here. Melrose in the 67 has had a disaster of a season so far. Joel Rodriguez, frantic to catch up to Melrose and Mariano Zavala, accidentally runs his teammate Craig Yonser in the 89 off the track in Station 5. Melrose in the 67 car had other problems, that being the 61 of Mariano Zavala, who was quickest in final practice and in the morning warm-up. Mike Humphreys in the 0 car makes contact with Victor Kane in the 136, sending Claire Ausier hard into the tire wall on the right side of Canada corner. Ausier was not terribly complimentary of Humphreys' driving, and that rivalry is apparently heating up. Joel Rodriguez in the 86 car is a longtime veteran of the series, beginning to challenge Daniel Melrose. It was Zavala and Melrose, however, that were the first cars to pit. They pitted way earlier than the rest of the field to avoid a less congested pit lane, and it appears from this shot right here that they made the right decision. James Hewitt had a different strategy, and his strategy was to pit 1 lap late. Zavala led the entirety of the second stint, but it was Dylan Buchanan in the 00 car whose pit crew got him out ahead of the 61 of Zavala. However, Mariano Zavala, the determined Venezuelan, sweeps around the outside here and is going to get a good run and a clever overtake around the 00 of Dylan Buchanan. The Scotsman continuing to impress this season. Point leader Hector Serrano has been on a bit of a slump ever since the Pittsburgh round, which he won. He's currently running in 3rd position in car number 1. James Hewitt's bizarre pit strategy to seemingly pit way later than everyone else is continuing. He's pitting later than the leaders on a regular basis, but as you'll notice, he is making up a lot of ground on them. As the race continued on, it was clear that the battle for the lead would be between the 61 of Zavala and Dylan Buchanan in the 00, and they were putting on one of the best shows we've seen all season long. Lots of hard and very clean racing between the two, but the X factor was James Hewitt's fuel strategy, which placed him in the lead of the race, giving us this epic battle. While it's easy to be dismayed at the sudden appearance of Josh Marshall's number 9 car, keep in mind that Marshall is holding his line and giving the leaders plenty of room to go by on the inside, something that James Hewitt takes full advantage of before Dylan Buchanan is able to do. Buchanan and Zavala pit at the same time, and as you see here, Dylan Buchanan wins the race off pit road. The Dan Timothy Motorsports team doing a better job than Matthews Motorsports. Trek Tauger gets squeezed over on the pit exit by Ike Durbin and spins Ike Durbin around. the stewards were not terribly impressed with Tauger's display here. Mariano Zavala in car number 61 is going to become victim of the most controversial incident of the day. Mike Humphreys throws the zero car in way too hard in the kink, the fastest corner on the track, spinning Mariano Zavala around, and Brad Dwyer, nowhere to go, runs into the 61 car, eliminating both. James Hewitt in the 155 is rolling the dice on fuel and seeing if he can make it the rest of the way without stopping. Hector Serrano had caught on to Hewitt's strategy and tried to adopt it, but the Mexican was unable to do so. He ran out of fuel just a few laps to go, giving James Hewitt the win, his third win of the season. He is the only repeat winner so far in the TM Light Series. Hector Serrano's splash and go at the end was enough to get him second place. Connecticut's Craig Yonser completed the podium in car number 89. However, this race had so many strong performances and so many good battles in it that a review this short almost feels like a disservice. After 13 of the 19 races, Hector Serrano still led the championship, with Matt Brinson, James Hewitt, Ashley Tucker, and Dylan Buchanan his closest challengers. Serrano's resilience and his ability to make the most out of a bad race car kept his points lead seemingly impenetrable. With the TM Master Cup Series soon to be going overseas, the TM Light Series will begin a series of standalone races, beginning at the recently reopened Abbotsford Speedway just a few hours west of Road America.